Now, it's not only focused on the eastern part of Nigeria. It's that literally a lot of people just fell in love with fufu. Even though me as a person, I don't eat it, but then I know a lot of people, my friends eat it, my family eat it, and all of that, and then they enjoy it so well. And then Ghana now have their own style of making it, and this is one of many West African countries that claim fufu as their own, and some authorities believe it is originated there. It is originated from Ghana, fairly blends by itself. This then merged of cooked cassava and green plantain is so thick that eaters typically break off pieces of it with their fingers before dipping into stew and soup. Regional variation of fufu abound, while Ghanaians typically make theirs with cassava and green plantains. So other ingredients such as West African yam and other further north. Cooks in other regions enhance their fufu with additional flavorings such as salt, pepper, garlic, and even fried pork belly. Well, that is extraordinary, you know. So plain fufu is naturally cholesterol free, which makes it a very good complete to balance out a rich meaty stew or soup. And the fiber and potassium rich dish also aids in digestion. In some parts of Ghana, fufu is considered such as a central cultural important, just like that, is important food that it is expected on the table every day. So it is so important that it is a dish that you can't just throw away. It's a dish that you know that thing that when there's food and then someone wastes it just gets to you. Well, just an advice, it's not right for you to waste food because food is very important. Not for any reason. In Ghana, don't let them not catch you wasting fufu. They can end up arresting you, right? So next we're going to be looking at okra soup. We know okra soup. We like okra soup in Nigeria. But today we're going to be looking at it the Ghanaian style and then the Ghanaian way. So okra is native to West African, and Americans cook were the first to make use of it, making the slandry green pot and the star ingredient in a number of favorite dishes. Indeed, the word okra itself has American roots and comes from the Igbo word for the vegetable, okuru. Ghanaians prepare okra in a number of ways, but one of their best known preparation is okra soup or stew. While the name suggests the basic vegetable braise, this vibrant dish is a meal in itself. To make it, cook some stew, tomato, onion, garlic, chilies, and other seasoning. Depends on what you want. You can use shrimp seasoning, you can use bouillon cubes and all of that in palm oil until it's soft. They then add both the meat or seafood. Beef is traditional, but smoked turkey, fish, or shellfish are other options, and simmer until the meat is cooked. Sliced or chopped the okra is added last, so that it doesn't get overcooked, I'm very sure. So if you dislike the slimy, viscous texture of cooked okra, you can avoid it by cutting the okra into large pieces and cook it only briefly. If you want to use this texture to thicken your stew, chop your okra more finely and cook it longer, adding water if needed to reach your desired consistency. So in Ghana, they use it with stew, and then they use it just as the soup itself. Okay, you know, there's always this competition and argument about Ghana jollof rice and Nigerian jollof rice. Well, we are not going to go there today. We're going to just be talking about the Ghanaian jollof rice. So, to a casual observer, jollof rice may look very, very simple, and genuinely is like a simple bowl of rice strained red by tomatoes, but there's more to this popular dish that meets the eye. Yes, enormously popular across it's popular across West Africa, Nigeria, Senegal, and Ghana. All claim it as one of their national dishes. It is thought to have originated in Senegal. The word jollof, which I am very sure some of us don't know, the word jollof refers to a kingdom that formed part of Senegal in the 12th century, where cooks prepare the dish, which in Senegal featured fish and rice and optional tomatoes. So during the French colonial era, good ideas tend to spread, and cooks in Nigeria and Ghana develop their own version of jollof rice. In these versions, however, tomatoes are highlighted while fish is optional. A few regional differences distinguish Ghanaian jollof rice and that of Nigeria. While Nigerian cook use long-grained rice, Ghanaian cook prefer basmati or jasmine rice for a more tender texture. And while Nigerian jollof rice is known for its spicy hot pepper kick and is often served with grilled or fried chicken, Ghanaian jollof rice is milder and sweeter and often served with plantain. Wherever it's served, the dish is a deeply loved comfort food. You know, there's always this argument about Ghana jollof, Nigerian jollof. Well, jollof is jollof, just that what makes it different is how you make it. So we're going to be looking at angwamo. Angwamo means oil rice. You know, it's rice and oil. You can just imagine that, and obviously I begin to have an idea. How is that, like rice and oil? Okay, let's see what that entails. So rice is popular in Ghana, especially in the southern regions of the country, and a number of Ghanaians' best loved dish showcase it. One of the simplest and most popular of this dish is angwamo or oil rice. Angwamo or oil rice. While this unassuming preparation looks like a pot of plain boiled rice, it's loaded with flavors. It is made by frying onions and sometimes other vegetable in a generous amount of oil before stirring in the rice and some salt, covering it with water and cooking it. The simplicity of the dish not only makes it a good choice for novice cook or time-pressed experienced cook, but it's part of why the dish has earned another nickname of baby rice. It's widely favored as a dish that both mild and nutritious enough to feed to babies. Adults diners wanting a bite, more punch to their meal, customarily top their oil rice with hot pepper sauce and serve it with sardine, cooked egg, or other protein for a quick, hearty meal. And up next, we're going to be looking at bofroats. Bofroats is a love for fried dough, seems to be nearly universal in the world for traditions, food and world food tradition, and Ghana is no exceptional. And here in Nigeria, we know it as puff puff. I'm very sure from the look of this, what's bofroat? Like, what's that? It's just the name that is entirely different, but sometimes it's just what you know. A popular street food worth looking for. It won't be hard to find. It's small, round, fried yeast dough donuts, where we know it in Nigeria as puff puff, while they are often eaten as snack, sometimes with peanuts, sometimes with I don't know, anything. You can just use it. It depends on how people eat it with jam, people eat it with peanut butter, like it's just the way you want it and all of that. So, and then it's mostly you can eat it for breakfast. Cause me, like puff puff is like my favorite snack, you know, for breakfast, eating straight from the fryer alongside a bowl of cocoa. So you can eat it with cocoa, you can eat it with any pap, you can take it with custard. Now it's just an easy way for you can have it for breakfast, and then sometimes I even like eating it afternoon, lunch, and breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I am indifferent about it. And then the variation of these snacks are commonly across West African and go by a name, number of names. Just as I said, the Nigerian version of this donut is affectionately known as puff puff. To make the donut, yeast is mixed into a thick batter of flour, sugar, butter, vanilla, nutmeg, and cinnamon, and allowed to rise until the batter is doubled in size and bubble. Balls of the batter are dropped into a hot oil and fried until golden brown. Some versions include eggs and milk in the batter, and some cooks top their bofroat with a sprinkle of powdered sugar, like all fried donuts, buffaloes are time consuming and messy to make at home, which is why most Ghanaians turn to experience street cooking to satisfy their cravings. You know, when you are making puff puff, it's like your hand needs to, because you have to use your hand. You can't use spoon to make it. No matter how touche you are, you have to just dive into that kitchen and make that meal, because that the joy of making puff puff is how busy you get when you are making it. I like it. Anyways, I know how to make it. So should, in case you want to have some, you can request me to just give you some when I make it. You can send your message on our social media platforms, all social media platforms. You can tell me if you want to have some, because trust me, I am not just talking about food. I'm not only talking about what Lunch Global is all about. I'm not only talking about meals across the world, across Nigeria, across other countries. I'm talking about food. I'm talking about how good I know how to cook. I'm flattering myself, I know that, but trust me, because I know how to make it. So next we're going to be looking at light soup. Light soup is originated as a tomato and seafood soup created by fishing communities in the coastal region of Ghana's capital, Accra. It's only light in comparison to Ghana's other super hearty soup, stew, peanut soup, and okra soup, while containing more think liquid. By comparison, it's still substantial enough to make a meal on its own if served with one of Ghanaian's traditional styles such as fufu or rice. While it's not super thick, it's certainly not light in flavor. The bold tomato-based broth is spiced up habanero pepper, onions, and sometimes shrimp powder. While it's originally served with cooked seafood once it gains popularity in other regions of Ghana. Versions include meat such as spiced chicken, beef, or goat emerge. Today, the meat versions are just as popular, if not more so, than the seafood-based original. Some cook also add eggplants or okra to make this dish even more substantial and flavorful. So it's just something else, and then it looks like pepper soup. It just looks like something that, how can you even eat rice with that? But in Ghana, like, it's their best food. And for the way the whole flavor, the whole spices, it's just something that is making me feel like, oh my God, when can I have some? It's already, I just want to just eat. I just want to eat. You know, when you are here talking about food, no matter how full you are, you start feeling hungry. And at this point, all I want is just to eat. Trust me, that's just all I want. And that's why I keep getting fat, getting all fat chicks, and that is what we are avoiding. But what can we say? We won't die. Somebody said that we're not going to be talking about fat, we're not going to be talking about stomach, or I'm having big stomach in heaven. And somebody say, maybe when you are there, maybe when you die, at the end of the day, it's the body you live with, that's the body you see. Well, we don't know. But then, eat and don't allow yourself die of hunger. But then don't eat too much, because you have to measure how you eat your food. So next we're going to be talking about Nkati. Nkati means peanut candy. So it's basically Nkati means peanuts and all of that, and that's why the peanut soup too, you know, there's just a similar thing. And then obviously you know that Ghanaians like peanuts, you cannot argue that. And then Nkati is a textbook example of how creative cook can accomplish a lot with very few ingredients, made with nothing but chopped peanuts and sugar. Nkati is often referred to as peanut cake in Ghana, but is actually closer to a pared down version of peanut brittle with a higher proportion of peanuts to sugar than American style brittle. It's also so straightforward and simple to make that it's often among the first dishes Ghanaian girls learn to cook. To make your own Nkati, mix finely chopped peanuts into an equal weight of granulated sugar that has been cooked until golden. Once the peanuts and caramel have been combined, pour them quickly into a greased cutting board and roll it into a triangle with a greased rolling pin, working quickly, cut the mixture into diamonds while still warm and soft. The brittle will harden as cool. This sweet treat is also sold in shops and by street vendors, which we all know. Like personally, when I was growing up, I know how to make it. I still even know how to make it. It just sometimes you just want to just have to pound the granite a little bit so that it doesn't come out very, very thick. But some people just make it it will just still be big. You could see the granite, but most of the time you just pound it for it to just be in like a little bit of powdery, and then you use your sugar, melt it. Once you put sugar on fire, it melts. Then you just make sure that it's melted, it's brown. Pour your granite, turn it, put it on your cutting board, or where you cut your this thing, with a little bit of butter or grease or the sugar. Basically, it's the sugar you use to grease the cutting board, and then from there you cut it. When it's dry now, it's strong, and then you find it in supermarket, because I bought it countless times in the supermarket, and trust me, it's so interesting to snack on, because that's a snack, but in Ghana it's food, but here we know it is a snack. So next we're going to be looking at banku and tilapia. Because of Ghana's coastal location, the country has a rich tradition of seafood cookery, so much so the fish comprises about 60% of the animal protein in the Ghanaian diet. To satisfy the local appetite for fish in the light of rapidly shrinking marine fish population, the Ghanaian government has actively supported aquaculture, that the farming of freshwater fish such as tilapia, a local favorite, has exploded in recent years. And cooks in Ghana have diverse flavorful ways to make use of tilapia, a simple and popular preparation of as roadside stand in a generously spiced and then grilled fish, which is then served with a spicy blend of chopped hot pepper, tomatoes and onions, along with banku, a starchy mass of fermented cornmeal and ground cassava, a staple starch in a coastal region of Ghana. Banku served the same role as fufu and is often the same way. Pinches of its are dipped into a wrapped around more flavorful food to balance strong flavors and add bulk in the meal. And then we're going to be looking at red. You could just imagine, okay, what is red? This red basically is just beans. It's just beans and oil. But then we know beans and oil. We know beans porridge. You know, there's a time that you just make beans when it has this plenty red oil. Is very, very interesting. And then you can use your plantain to just spice it up. And in Ghana, it's one meal that they enjoy. It's like literally the favorite meal and all of that. And then it's good because here in Nigeria, these beans will go very well with bread for people that love beans. Some people mix it up with gari to just style it and make it unique and special. So in Ghana, they call this red. So should, in case you see the red, don't be surprised, don't be shocked. It's something you know. Well, one advice, just as I give you all the time, when you find yourself somewhere in another region, in another country, learn to know about their tradition and and also learn to eat their meal, because don't just depend on what you know. Sometimes you have to find out to know that exact food. Thank you for joining me on today's episode on Lunch Global. Trust me, I said if you want to have a taste of my banku, you have to send me message so that when I make it, I will share it with you. And in case you have anything you want us to talk about, you have any food you want to ask question about, you can drop message on any of our social media platform. And yes, you can also watch us live on StarTimes channel 276 every other day of the week. Thank you for joining me. If today is your first time of joining me, I'm still your host, Chung Anamel Joseph. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.